Hello and welcome to the Kilowatt Half Hour, a podcast about the world of EVs brought to you by the team at Electrifying.com.
Well, hello, and I know that some of you doubted us, but we are back for the second episode of our new season. And it didn't take us 2 months to get here, did it, Batch?
No, it really didn't. No, amazingly. And I think it's fair to say our factory reset has worked, hasn't it? Amazing.
It has. We've had such a full post bag of really lovely messages welcoming us back. Thankfully, none of you were too cross, and we didn't get any scolding because we were a bit scolded when we were off air. We're going to be diving into all of that later. But why don't we kick off with what we've been driving and looking at, and then we'll look into what else has been going on in the world of cars. So, Batch, what have you been up to? What have you been behind the wheel of?
Well, I've had a bit of a quiet time recently, but I've been spending some extended time in a car that I'd completely forgotten about actually existing. um, it's the Fiat 600e. Can you remember that car, Ginny? Um, it's
There's so many. Yeah, no, I do remember it vaguely, somewhere in there.
I know, and that's the point, isn't it? It's one of those cars that's perfectly fine, perfectly nice car, but that's the problem, isn't it? It is perfectly fine. And this 600e, I mean, it's lovely. It's bright orange, black roof, ivory colored seats. It's nice to drive. Perfectly nice car. It's just it doesn't get under my skin like the Fiat 500e does. That I love the Fiat 500e. Again, that's another car that's easily kind of forgotten about these days. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I've been spending a lot of time in this car, and I've come to the realization that I think it's a Stellantis problem. So, as you know, Stellantis owns Fiat, they own Vauxhall, they own Peugeot, they own pretty much most things. And yet these cars, they turn up, don't they? Big fanfare, they launch, really exciting, and then they kind of just fade away into the background, and we get excited about other stuff. So I don't know if that's just a me problem. I don't know if you think the same, Ginny, or whether our listeners think the same. Nice cars,
Yeah,
forgettable.
yeah. It's really interesting because I'm going to give a plug to another podcast, which is the podcast that you also appear on sometimes. It's the Car Dealer podcast.
Yes, yeah.
So I was on that last week, and they do, as you will know, is a fun thing where you get people to judge the best news story. We might have to nick that from the Car Dealer guys and get our lovely listeners to tell us which was the best news story. But one of the things we talked about was that Stellantis lost 22 billion euros last year. And the company's CEO is blaming it on EVs. And I think what I think the upside of that conversation was actually no, perhaps it's just that you're not making good enough ones.
Yes.
And I mean, there was a lot of financial stuff around them writing, off certain things and things being cancelled, which of course all impacted on those losses. But I think that the upshot of that conversation was that actually they're a bit the samey, but it was very interesting because I think the brand that stood out as I think it was James Baggott was saying that is the Fiat. It's the Fiat 500. It's a car he gets excited about. And I was saying I still think Citroens have got a nice personality, but I think some of you said some of that sharing, it's just feeling a bit too samey. But I don't know, is that an industry thing? Is that something that motoring journalists moan about? If you are listening to this and buying cars, do you really care whether it's got the same platform?
No.
And
Yeah, I sometimes think that because this 600e, like the indicator stalks and the keys, are all it's same as a Jeep and the same as a Vauxhall, and I think that's probably a me thing because I've got the luxury of trying all these other cars. But the problems I think Stellantis have got is they've got very emotive brands, and when you product share, you've got to make sure that each of those cars feel like they're from those individual brands, and I don't think Stellantis has quite cracked that just yet.
And I think one of the other things we talked about, because that was a point that I raised on that, and I was saying, well, like what Renault does is lean into its history. It's doing this brilliant thing, isn't it, of having these dual strategies. They've got their modern icons, as they call them, which are their newer cars, and then they've got these icons, which is the Twingo, which is coming, and the 4 and the 5. Why isn't Citroen doing that? Where's the electric 2CV? The de Chauveau. I would love to see that electric.
I know.
Love it.
I know it's a
Anyway,
golden opportunity, and I think if Renault have really surprised everybody, and who would have thought Renault would be leading the EV market, and they really
yeah,
are. It's incredible.
yeah,
So
really
what have
nailing it.
you been
But do you
driving then?
Well, yeah, I'll come to that in a minute, but I'm really interested to hear what people who are listening think. So you can drop us an email,
Yeah.
podcast@electrifying.com, or drop us a comment. As you will hear from later in the comment when we go through a lot of them. We do read them all, even, even the horrible ones. um, so what have I been driving? Oh, sorry, what we'd like to hear from you is, what do you think? Does it matter to you whether, cars share the same things, or is it just simply a bit of an obsession that we have in the industry, that when we're driving a lot of cars back to back?
Mm. Mm.
So I've obviously been driving Yoda, the Renault 5, who's currently getting 3 miles per kilowatt hour at the moment now, which I still think is okay. It has been still quite cold.
Yeah.
I just love Yoda. Yoda's going home soon. She's been taken back to the mothership, and I'm going to be sad, but I'll talk about that more on a future podcast. But I have been out to drive something that I can't talk about. I can tell you what a car is, though, the Mercedes, which is otherwise it'd be a short podcast. I've just come out from a few days actually being very immersed with Mercedes,
Mm.
and there'll be a lot of stuff over the coming weeks that I'll be able to talk about, some really interesting things. I'll be able to tell you what the GLC was like to drive. I can't do that today, but what was interesting is this is the first time I've seen it. So Nick's done the walk around videos and the very first look video. And goodness me, that hyperscreen is big. it's, it's a meter. It's a meter of
Oh
screen.
my goodness.
And the grill, as BMW grills are going smaller, they're going, no, we'll
Yes.
be extra.
Yeah.
What surprised me, actually, and I'm not massively a blingy person, really. I'm not into blingy cars. The grill, when you see it, I actually think this is a car that looks really good when you see it. I think in the metal, as we say, and I really liked the grill,
Well,
which I was
I
completely not expecting to do.
I like it. I mean, I haven't seen it in the flesh like
Mm.
you have, but I've seen pictures and I've seen videos of it, and I agree with you. And I think we've got to remember Mercedes have always been flashy. They've always been blingy, and I think in the past few years, I'm thinking like the CLA. When we had the CLA at the barn a few weeks ago. Apart from the fact it's got a star on the grill, it doesn't look like a Mercedes. A Mercedes should be big and brash and flashy. That's what I think a Mercedes should be. So I really like the look of the GLC. I can't wait to drive it. So
Yeah, I mean, just from, if I go off purely off the tech is fabulous in it. I mean, they're going down that BMW Neue Klasse route, and we had a lovely German teacher who emailed us just to remind me, which it was brilliant that it's actually not Neue Klasse, it's Neue Klasse.
class.
So I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember to get it right now. Neue Klasse. They're doing their own tech stack. So we've got a video of that dropping in a few weeks. But what I can tell you about is I've discovered a new piece of technology that has changed my life that I didn't know existed in a Mercedes. And it's across all Mercedes. Do you know about the height button?
No, I genuinely, I don't know what you're talking about. What?
Okay. All right. This blew my mind. So, and this is you'll like this batch because you get in a lot of cars after me. And there is a very funny video that I think we might need to try and just put a clip of on this podcast of you getting in the car after me. I'm short, gang, right? There are a lot of members of the Electrifying team who are taller and and more substantial than I am, and they don't like getting into cars after me because it's like impossible. So,
Yeah.
but in the Mercedes, you go into the seat settings, you can set your height in feet and inches or in centimeters, so it works for either. And there's a little bar, and you set it to your height, set it at 5'4". It's calibrating everything it knows about the interior dimensions, the screen sizes, everything, and the seats automatically adjust for your height. And it was bang on.
Oh.
I didn't know that existed. And honestly, and then what you can do after you've been in, you can reset it so it can go back to the previous position. So you could. It's up. I thought
Brilliant.
it was brilliant. It was one of those little pieces of technology that I wish every single car had, because we're in and out of a lot of cars all the time.
Yes.
And I know, but I just thought it was clever. It was a really smart piece of tech, and I didn't know it existed.
Well, I think
You know?
I don't want to rain on your parade here, Ginny, but I think Mazda have done something like that before.
They did. I know.
But
I know
I,
that. But it
I
is
will
no.
I will give it to you though. In the Mazda, it never works, and I know that from past experiences. It never works, and it sounds great in the Mercedes. Perhaps Mercedes have watched the CLA video that me and Nicola did, where I did try and get in the car after you'd driven it, and I tried so much actually fell out of the car because I was unable to get behind the wheel because you drive
Okay.
like this, don't you? Just
I
no.
do. I actually like my wheel quite a long way away, just that it feels closer. So actually, in terms of I don't. I like my wheel like some of my wrists, around there. But it's just that I'm short, Patch. That's all. Is this bullying? Are you bullying me?
It is. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's all right. Be very heightened. Anyway, so look, should we go on to the news? Because there's been quite a lot of news this week, hasn't
Yeah.
there? Uh,
Yeah.
I don't. Oh, why don't you take that the one that apparently we don't need Big Brother to watch us, because apparently the Department for Transport is doing that job for us. For
I
it,
know.
for
I
Big
know.
Brother. This is a good story. I find this really interesting.
I know. My mouth dropped when I read this on the electrifying.com this week. So it's EV drivers are being spied on, apparently. So the UK government has been analysing mobile phone data to understand how electric car drivers behave. Okay, just let
Yeah,
that sink in for a moment. Okay.
I know.
And it includes where they travel and where they charge. So it goes exactly back to what you just said, Ginny. Big Brother. This is 1984 kind of stuff, it sounds like, doesn't it? So it's a 2-year project. It was run by the DFT, the Department for Transport, using data from the O2 network, and also providers Tesco Mobile, GiftGaff, Sky, and Virgin. Now, EV drivers were identified through their use of EV related apps and websites, allowing researchers to estimate journeys based on phone speed and location data. Now,
Mm.
obviously, we had to get a comment from the DFT. We had to find out what the earth is going on here. And officials insist, okay, they insist that data was anonymized, it was aggregated, meaning that individuals could not be identified. But of course, it still raises big questions about how much mobile data companies are collecting and sharing. The awkward twist in all of this, after spending, get this, £602,000, the report concluded the data isn't actually accurate enough for detailed TV analysis. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it?
It it is absolutely nuts, and just think that £602,000 could have gone in really useful charger grants for people that are buying secondhand cars, which is my hobby horse at the moment. That I
Yes,
think we need to
yes.
reintroduce the grants for chargers. It's a really strange thing, isn't it? And I think it was it, you. What surprised me was, I think it just, if you've looked at an EV website or you've engaged with some EV content like twice, I think it was, that's when they sort of thought that you were potentially an EV driver, and they were interested in what the phone data was telling them. And it's just I don't know. I think we weren't aware we weren't aware of it, which is not ideal. They're very, I mean, just on the legal side, because we don't want to get sued. It's all been done legally, so there's no, it's not, there's no laws been broken. So it isn't, for me, it isn't about that. It's about the fact that we didn't know about it.
No. Yeah.
And I'd be fascinated to know what people think about it. And there's part of me that also wondered, is this all maybe part of a plan for somehow, was it going to feed into pay per mile? I don't think it was, because this was a project set up by the previous government. So this has
Yes. I
not
mean,
been, yeah, this was a conservative government started project, but and obviously they didn't learn much. But it does raise those questions about how are we going to be tracking things like pay per mile, doesn't it?
well, yeah, and hopefully, this might serve as a bit of an example of, yeah, I mean, you're right, it was a 2-year project, so It wasn't under the current administration, as far as
Mhm.
I'm aware. But it raises it should be used as an example of, with these discussions around pay by mile, there is going to have to be some analysis of individuals, their journeys, what they do, what people do in their cars. Just tell us what's going on. The vast majority of people, I'm sure, wouldn't mind all of this if it means we have a fairer system. It can actually be used in a good way. Fine,
Yeah.
but just tell us it's going on.
I think it was the
Right.
breach of trust really that was the thing, when you signed up for an EV, you didn't know you were also and I'm an Odoo customer as well. I was like, "Oh, great. Okay."
Yeah.
And anyway, let us know what you think about that one because I think that for me was quite a big story,
Mm.
from the last week. The other big story, is that the final 3 for the World Car of the Year have been announced.
Yeah.
So I'm a juror on that, as you know. And am I right in thinking you're a UK Car of the Year juror as well, Batch?
I am. I am indeed. Yes. I'm slowly climbing my way up to the world. So.
Well, we talked about that on the podcast last week because that had just been announced. So we've got like not to the finals, but we've got a step closer. So the final 3, the final shortlist has been announced, and there's 2 electric cars are up for World Car of the Year. Probably not surprisingly, the BMW iX3.
Yeah.
The other one was the Nissan Leaf, and then bringing up the rear was the Hyundai Palisade. So obviously, it's a world award. Not all markets are moving at the same pace. So we do get some internal combustion engine cars coming up. But actually, the last couple of years, the shortlist has been all EV. But the Palisade in particular is a massive seller, particularly in North America, where
Yeah.
obviously, there's a bit of a kind of changing and loosening of targets over there. I think the Leaf is interesting. Again, it's the original Leaf actually was a winner of World Car of the Year, and I think just because this is a global award, I thought that was an interesting inclusion. And then we have this other separate, which might sound a bit complicated, but we have an EV category as well. So which aren't always based on the World Car, because World Car there are some kind of financial parameters around in that as well. But again, for World Electric Vehicle, we've got the Leaf and the iX3. But in that, the third one is the CLA, which of course has just been announced as European Car of the Year. And then just generally, EVs did really well. Volvo ES90 is up for World Luxury Car. The Lucid Gravity, which car sold in North America. I've been told it's coming to the UK. I've driven that, obviously. It is a brilliant car. It is a brilliant luxury sort of family, well, not a very, a very lucky family SUV. And then a nice one was the Ioniq 6N, which is up for World Performance Car of the Year, which again, I think is well deserved. So winners announced on April the 1st. And then I think we just want to probably rattle off one more news story, don't we? Because we've talked a lot about VAT on public charging, and there's been a bit of a move in the right direction this week, Batch. Is that right?
Yes. So the public charging might be getting a little bit cheaper. So why is that?
Baby.
Maybe, yes. Well, it may be, well, why is that? Well, it's a community charging network called Charge My Street has just won the first stage of a legal challenge against the
Mhm.
Treasury of a VAT on public EV charging. So that's a pretty big step. You could say a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Now, the group has argued that small community charge points should qualify for the same 5% VAT rate as domestic electricity instead of the 20% currently applied
Mhm.
to most public chargers. That's something that we've been saying, and quite a few other people have been
Yeah.
saying as well. And
I mean,
importantly, the
the late
tribunal.
Quentin. Yeah, so the late Quentin Wilson, I always think of the late Quentin Wilson, lovely man, and who did
Yeah.
so much to champion this. So sorry, yeah, I interrupted. So on.
No. He was one of the biggest advocates of this, and it seems like the tribunal has agreed on this. So, under the current wording of the law, it ruled that drivers using those chargers should actually be paying the lower rate. Now, this
Mm.
could have big implications for the cost of public charging, although the HMRC could still appeal, or the government might simply change the legislation.
Yeah.
But, and this is the important bit, but if the ruling stands, it could help bring down those charging costs, which campaigners say is essential if EV ownership is going to work for drivers without off-street parking.
Yeah, and we've got to have it fair, haven't we? So this is a
Yeah.
very small step in the right direction. And again, I think this is only over. I think it's not the. I don't think. I don't know. I might be wrong, but it's my understanding this ruling doesn't cover sort of the DC rapid charging. It's more those lower local AC
Mm.
chargers. But it is a step in the right direction. And as always on all the news stories, whether it's that or whether you think we got the World Car of the Year finalists wrong, or what you think about Big Brother watching, also known as the Department for Transport, watching EV drivers. You can email us podcast@electrifying.com. Let us know in the comments below. Should I do the Barnard's bargain? Should we make it a Buckley bargain this week? Because
Buckley
Barnard's not
Bargain.
here.
That
Buckley
sounds better.
bargain.
It trips off the
It's
tongue
a
better, actually.
we
Yeah.
got a Buckley bargain courtesy of Barnard. That's a real complicated one. He has found a great deal on a BYD Seal. So it's the 230 kilowatt design model. It gets that 83 kilowatt air battery. Um, you've been in the Seal recently. We know Nick's a massive fan of that. It's a good car.
It is.
So here you go, Batch. Would you go for this? There's a lease still at the moment, £314 a month with £2,826 up front. That's over 3 years, 8,000 miles a year. And the best bit, it's in stock and it's pre-registered and it's ready to go.
Oh, yeah. I just love the Seal. It's just a great all-rounder, and at that price,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you?
That's it. I mean, that deal is on at the moment, and you can find that on the deals page over at electrifying.com. But that, for me, is a lot of car for the money. A
An
lot of
awful lot of
car.
car. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, let's go on to comments and questions. And we had some lovely comments welcoming us back, which we're so happy about. Should we just take these one by one each? Because we're going to do loads of them just to make us feel nice.
Yes.
So we had Kiss_Paul Stanley, which is a great YouTube handle. At least you've not broken the format of a 30-minute podcast that lasts longer than 30 minutes. Well done all. Great to see you return.
And the electric transition says, "Yay, great to have you back. I was worried we'd seen the end of the podcast. Don't worry, you've not seen the end of this podcast. I promise."
And I promise we'll be back next week too. Yeah, Dua MC, great return to the Kilowatt Half Hour. Oh, and I wasn't expecting the Spice Girls to sound as good as I remember too. This is because we were talking about the Spice Girl triplets, the small VW cars that are coming along. And then Gav Kenny said, "Huzzah, it's back!" and the snazzy new titles. So shout out to Manos for those. So he did a great job with them. We got music and everything. That's what took us 2 months to choose the music because we were all arguing.
And if people don't understand the Spice Girls reference, just go and listen to last week's podcast and you'll quickly understand. Yeah, I mean, loads more comments. I mean, Wagner Guinness, I probably completely
Gimenez I think it was. I'm going for Wagner Gimenez, but Wagner, and what are you saying? Or Wagner Gimenez?
I don't know. Anyway, whoever you are, feel free to tell us if we're getting it wrong. Leave a comment for next week. But they've been saying, "I'm just thankful you guys are back. Thanks for taking the time to keep us updated with the news." So that's a lovely thing to say.
And then Mark Cornwall said, "It's been a while. Clearly it was so Ginny could finally get her walls painted green."
Yes.
Welcome back. If you don't know, for a long time, my walls had like different colours on. I went for green. And shout outs also to a lot of the regulars. So A4 DJL Neville Brownie, the Laser Hive, Stephen Medell, 1383, Mark Freeman, and everyone else who welcomed us back. It was lovely.
Yes. Although, Ginny, not everyone was happy to see us back. This comment from Graham Harrison 1323 came flying in, and it says, "Thought I'd clicked on an episode of Loose Women by mistake. Wittering on about Spice Girls, etc. Not for me, thanks. Stick to cars. Don't want to listen to inane banter. Maybe just me, but it got right on my nerves." But thankfully, we didn't have to dive in here because Mig V40 did that on our behalf. He swept in with this one-liner saying, "You can't, yes, it's just you. Yes, Greg,
Yes.
it's just you. You can't please all the people all of the time."
You really can't. And we also got another one, which was brilliant, which was, I'm only here for the inane banter, which, if you're not here for that, it's the wrong podcast. Whether it's all the loose women as we're in the loose women of the team. I mean, random
Yes.
anyway. So, but yes, please, do always let our comment, send us your comments. We do love reading them all. And we're back to now. We're going to welcome our electric virgin of the week.
Ah,
So
yes.
these are people who have made the move into EVs for the first time. We're going to go and say hello to somebody across the pond in rural Ohio, which makes me really happy.
Oh.
Buckeye EV charging. Wonder if Buckeye is something to do with Buckley. Are we distant cousins?
No,
Do you have a
I think
connection with
not.
Rochdale? I just would love
No.
to know I have a family in rural Ohio. Because I've been watching Yellowstone and I'm a bit obsessed with the kind of rural America at the moment. Anyway,
Well,
forget
the
that.
thing I want to know is how well do the Spice Girls go down in rural Ohio? That's
Okay,
the big
we
question.
really are digressing. We're getting really into the inane banter territory. Anyway, Buckeye EV Charging said, I really enjoy everything you ladies do. And G-Batch. That's what the other boys on the team. I look forward to every video, and I only wish we could get those cars that you talk about here and review here. In fact, because of your channel, I'm buying my first EV on Saturday, a 2026 Chevrolet Equinox EV, which is one we don't get here. I'm so excited to become part of this community and revolution in electric transportation. I just wish I could be here in another 30 years to see it really evolve. And on one of your future shows, could you delve into what you think it will take for the US to really begin to embrace EVs? Great idea. And I think that is something that
Yeah.
you should have a chat about. And maybe, try and find somebody with a bit more insight into the US market to talk to us. But let us know how you go on. And let us know. I mean, I haven't driven the Chevrolet Equinox, so we'd love to know what you hear. So welcome to the gang. And also welcome to the gang, Gav Kenny, who said, my friend has just bought a CLA. This is because we were talking about it winning European Car of the Year. Very excited to see it next week. And he is also getting an EV3 in August. So welcome to the gang. Welcome to the electric gang. Should we do a few more comments?
Yes. Shall we have a look at well, we've been talking about affordability, haven't we? And
Yeah.
also used EV loans in Scotland. Now Mike Davis 660 has said an interest-free loan on new and used BEVs makes so much sense. Yes, Mike, we agree with sorry, Mika actually. We totally agree with you as well. Andrew Bell says we took advantage of the interest-free loan via the Energy Savings Trust in December 2024 after a friend did the same in 2023 and recommended it. When he got the loan, it was up to £28,000, 6-year repayment for a used EV. When we got it, they reduced it to 25k, 6-year repayment with a household income less than £50,000. We purchased a used, 9 months old at the time, Renault Megane E-Tech, good choice, for just under £25,000 with around 6,000 miles on the clock. The car dealership was also offering a home charger and install from about £500 as part of the deal, which we took. The charger was installed under a week after receiving the car. You have to be quick to get the loan, however. They usually announce the loan just after the Scottish government budget, quite difficult to say, which is October, November, and all the money is gone by around January, February time.
But isn't that brilliant? And this is what I was talking about last week. I was having a bit of a rant about the electric car grant and about there being some grants given out to business and landlords and on having chargers fitted. And my thought has always been, some kind of, a household income, let's set that a certain level and let's help get people into used EVs because that's arguably, where you can make the most difference. And then my other point that I'd made last week was that if you're spending 10 grand on a used EV, which you can get a good one now, right? And then suddenly you have to pay another £1,000 on a charger, that could be the difference between you switching or not. And more 30 messaged and said, totally agree on the charge thing. I was lucky to get one thrown in with my classic Ioniq 6 years ago. But if I had to drop, $2,000, I don't know, maybe you're in the US at the time, it is a bit cheaper now, it would have made me stop and think. And then we had the other side of the argument, EV ready. Personally, I'm not in favour of spending taxpayer money subsidising second-hand car purchases. Reckon it's right the grants are focused on new cars, on incentivising manufacturers to produce them, getting more new EVs on the road. But on the flip side, I can see where I do think that those who buy second-hand, On the flip side, helping those who buy second-hand Ford chargers would be good. And I can see where Ginny is coming from about supporting landlords, and really landlords should install chargers with their own money. So yeah, I think affordability is like the big thing now. And it's how we, try and get a lot more people into much more affordable EVs in the used market. So, and we know that people do have concerns and questions, and also we know chargers are expensive. As always, let us know what you think.
Yes.
We had the question about the bigger boot. Did you know why the BYD had suddenly got a bigger boot? Do you know this? Yeah, it was random, wasn't it?
Because it doesn't make any sense actually, because Nicola went out and drove the car in Madrid a couple of weeks ago. I helped her write the script, and I dived through all the specs, but it didn't really become clear why the Atto 3, which is what we're talking about, the Atto 3, of course, it's switched from um which way is it? Is it rear wheel? It's front wheel drive to rear wheel drive, isn't it? But the boot has now got
I d-
bigger. That's what it is, isn't it?
Well, this is what they've said. This is what J Little 2814 said. Not sure if anyone has answered this already, but apparently they've changed the battery layout so they can make the boot deeper.
Oh, okay. Well, that would make
We
sense.
should check. It's very good. That would be good.
Yes.
And then we had a lot of response to our beeps and bongs. Because last week back, we were talking about how annoying it is in some cars when you get in and you literally pull away from the house, and before you've even got to the end of the street, it's saying, "You look tired, take a break." Which is like, I mean, it's basically saying you look a bit rough today, isn't
I
it?
know.
Yeah. So as three women on the podcast, we did object to that. Does that
Well,
happen
it's
to
not just
you?
you. It's not just you. I get it as well. I got a new one last week where I was told that I need to sit up, and I'm like, where do you think I'm sitting? I'm not sitting on a chaise longue, am I? I am sitting upright driving a car. So it's just ridiculous. It's getting all too much.
It's like being at school, isn't it? Sit up, pay attention. It'll be shouting at you for giving it the side eye next. Anyway, people agreeing with us. Machuligan09, also happy to hear that we're back. Said, phew, you're back. The shakes are beginning to fade. The cork is back in the Coburn's, which I love, Coburn. Coburn's port. Anyway, and the breeze. So, on the subject of beats and bongs, our Leap Motor TO3 has the weariness bongs, but the thing is, they go on for 15 seconds. 15. Unless you have left hand forefinger accuracy of burning the bolt, it lasts that long too. So I presume you can't get there. And actually, some really good real range figures there coming in from Machuligan09 with winter range on the TO3 and also range on the Dolphin Surf. Now, what we really want is you guys to send us in your real world range experiences, and we are collating them all in a spreadsheet. One person suggested perhaps we could get Mr. Barnard to do that, and that indeed is what will happening. So we're going to start looking much more about. We want to know what you're getting out of your cars as well. So yes, who else is with us on the facial recognition tired?
Well,
thing?
Fingalbat has perked up. And they've come in with this comment saying, "I think there should be a calibration option to set your natural resting / concentration face, so it knows what you look like normally." So
That's genius.
so rather than saying you are tired, it knows that this is the normal state. In fact, every time you get in the car, it should say, "How amazing you are looking today." So you set off in a good mood and hopefully will be more considerate to fellow drivers. This is assuming they don't add a sarcastic mode where it says, "You look amazing," in that tone where you are left unsure. What a brilliant idea.
Oh, Fingelbat's a regular on the podcast, and I know watches all of our videos. That is genius.
Yeah.
Literally, like the next lot of design directors, interior design team I go to talk to, or the UX people who love to do a seminar. I'm going to bring that up. We're gonna get that change made. What would you like your car to say to you in the morning, other than, "Ooh, take a break. You look a bit tired." I'm with Fingelbat. You look fabulous. Let us know in the comments below. This one I thought was really interesting, though, from BRX Ranger. When do you think our insurance companies will tell us we're not allowed to turn those systems off?
Well, yeah.
What an interesting thought.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to
Yeah.
say this, but it's I can't help but think it's only a matter of time, really.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. And I think we should end our comment section on the VW Spice Girls, because obviously it really wound Graham up, who listened and watched last week. But he won't be watching anyway now because he doesn't want to watch Loose Women about electric cars.
Inane
What if
chatter.
it went something new, like a loose woman and a loose bloke? What they want.
I think that's something entirely different.
That's a show we don't want to make.
No.
Okay. Graham Smith 6443 said, "So glad you're back, but surely VW are not having triplets, they're having quads, as there is the ID Cross as well." There is. Kind of forgot about that one.
Technically, yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christopher Nunn says Skoda is basically Audi. Are you kidding? Skodas are better built, better equipped, and better value. Don't lower Skoda to Audi levels. I have to agree with Christopher there, actually. I think he's spot on.
It's really harsh, but might not disagree. That's because I likened, if this is not making sense, I likened the VW triplets to the ID2 being Baby Spice because it's cute, everybody's going to love it, it's fun, and the Skoda Epic forthcoming was basically posh because Skoda is basically the new Audi these days. And then we had Special Circus who said, "Sorry, but that's a poor analogy. Posh Spice was the useless one. She didn't sing. She was just there for the show, for the set dressing. Who wants a useless girl?" Which was harsh.
Yeah.
And our final comment, I think, Batch, I'll hand over to you. It's from Urban Strachan, a long-time listener to the show. And again, Lino watches a lot of our videos. So let's end with this one.
Yeah. Kilowatt Half Hour is back. Girls, great podcast, great episode. And then also great to see VW Group triplets coming this year. ID Polo, Cooper Rival, and Scooper Epic. Scooter. Scooter. That's the fifth child. Skoda Epic.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm most excited. I can't speak today, but personally, I'm most excited for the Hyundai Ioniq 3. Hope it's worth the wait to replace my Insta. So are you starting EV conversion build this year? Electrifying team, get old Yugo and convert it to a proper 21st century EV hot hatch.
It's something we have threatened to do for a while. Listen, we couldn't do a podcast for 2 months. What are the chances of us doing an EV conversion? But I think it is something that I have a feeling that there is a member of the team who might take that on. But we'll be driving. Well, we will be going to see the Ioniq 3 very, very soon. I've actually seen it already. Can't talk about it yet, but we will be having a video soon on that car. So much great stuff coming. We'll be reporting it all on the YouTube channel. Also, giving you loads of inane banter about it here on the podcast. So thank you so much for joining us. Batch, it's been a delight. I think some of the boys are back next week on that one as well. So, and we do promise it's going to be weekly again. We're not going to let you down. But until then,
keep those comments coming in. But for this week, thanks for listening.
bye.
Bye.